Dearest Texas history students, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, we're looking over Unit 2, Natural Texas and its People. We are going to be looking at Native American culture groups in Texas prior to European exploration. There are 4 culture groups. These are Cornell notes, so we can make a little thing right here, a little drawing. Roughly, those are the 4 culture groups, not to be confused with regions. So the first culture group, and I highly recommend that you label these, is number 1, and these are our Gulf Coast culture groups. They're mostly nomadic and hunters and gatherers. This includes the Karankawa. They used dugout canoes to fish and hunt small animals. Cabeza de Vaca, who we're going to learn about later, met these guys and wrote about them in a book that he wrote and published in Spain. The next group is the Koilitakan. It's pretty hard to spell and say. We can do hard things. Koilitakan in South Texas. They ate bugs and small animals. And then we have the Atakapan. The Atakapan hunted small animals and fished in dugout canoes. They did some farming. The second one is going to be the Plains cultures. And the Plains cultures, oh, that's up here. The Plains cultures Native Americans were mostly nomadic. They depended on buffalo and they were fierce warriors. The first of these groups, and also a question on your quiz, is Comanche. The Comanche used every part of the buffalo. They lived in teepees. They domesticated animals, which we saw in those art pieces that we observed last week. And they were horses were introduced to them by Europeans. So they weren't always horse people, only after Europeans came. The next group, that's on your quiz. The next group is the Apache. The Apache used buffalo hide as protection from harsh landscape, and then for the most part they lived in farming communities. Along rivers and streams, and they had these farming communities called rancherias. That's an interesting term. The next group is the Kiowa. And the Kiowa recorded an oral history on teepees. They made beautiful crafts. They developed a calendar. And they were the most feared group on the plains. The next one, number 3, I'm going to go back up to my map and label my map. Number 3, which means that this one must be 4. Number 3 is the Puebloan peoples. Puebloan cultures. The groups in the Puebloan cultures were sedentary. That means that they stayed. They were not nomadic. That's the opposite of nomadic. They were farmers. they lived in houses made of adobe. The fact that they were farmers and that their houses are made of hard clay means that they can't move around and follow food. Next page. The two Puebloan groups that we're going to look at are the Jamano. Oh, I spelled that wrong. I'm so sorry. Jamano. They farmed and hunted, traded, and lived in painted adobe homes. And then also we have the Kiowa, who are known for their beautiful pottery. That part's on your quiz. Okay, next we have the Southeastern Tribes or culture groups. That's number 4. That's the 4th culture group. Southeastern. The Southeastern cultures were sedentary. That means that they stayed. They built homes and they stayed there. They had a food-rich environment and a complex social system. So that means that they had social classes within the group. The first is the Caddo, C-A-D-D-O. The Caddo built dome-shaped huts. They had very organized government systems. And then their government system was led by a chief. And this is very unusual in early groups, but they had women as leaders in their group. They played important roles and they greeted the Europeans using the term Tejas, which to them meant friend. This is on your quiz, so you might want to mark that. The last group in the Southeastern Plains or Southeastern culture is the Wichita. The Wichita hunted buffalo. They grew crops. That means that they didn't move around if they grew crops. And then they were known for the tattoos around their eyes. They were known as raccoon eyes. That's pretty interesting. Okay, let's look at modifications to the environment. This part is on your test or your open notes quiz. American Indians adapted to the climate by building shelters made from local material, so they had to use what was around them. Some of them used adobe, that's sun-dried clay. Some of them used buffalo hides, and then some of them used timber, which is chopped down trees. Some American Indian tribes modified the land by engaging in farming and modified the environment by hunting. The environment had a significant impact on the lifestyle of American Indian tribes, dictating whether they were able to establish communities or if they could live a nomadic lifestyle. Thank you for paying attention. In the next video, we will label these maps. Get ready.